So through this entire thing, I've been talking to a lot of great people in their field, whether it's fitness, nutrition, dieting, some kind of wellness field. Right now I'm talking, and we're joining in with Gaye Ann Bruno, who's a producer, art director, podcaster, and she's been a heck of a lot of other things. She's a Jersey girl, and she's lost 32 pounds during this whole COVID thing, and no, it was no miracle diet.
How are you? Thank you for having me come on. I appreciate it, Ronnie.
Well, mainly because I love the posts you put on Facebook. They inspire me, even though I don't think that's your mission to be inspiring people. You're just being you. And you get followers who just giggle at some of your posts. And because you're a working woman, and the series is for the high achieving, high performing working woman. And you're one. So I just want to talk girl talk.
Okay.
And sort of like your podcast, Between the Sheets, but that's more sexy. And in between the sheets, you think it's going to be all sex talk, and it's not. It can be, I mean, you guys go off on tangents. She has different women come on. And just like when you sit down with a bunch of girlfriends, you can start on one topic and you're bebopping around with different subjects. And somehow you always make it back to the main topic. It is a roller
coaster ride. It's a roller coaster ride.
It is. So, Gaye Ann, how has this pandemic been treating you, especially your health and your wellness, whatever that means to you?
Health is fine. I have to be a little bit more conscientious of what I do. My mother, about 5 years ago, I brought her in to live with me. She's on dialysis and she has COPD. So she has a very high compromised immune system, needless to say. So, in the beginning, it's not like I don't follow the rules now, because I do, but in the beginning, I was much more astringent, because of my mom. But then I sort of, I started following what the facts are versus what the BS that's posted on Facebook, like the real news, and started, doing things for me to keep my own, heart, mind, spirituality, health, in program for me, for my mental, I'm not a person that gets depressed, but I think with all of us, we tend to slope into things. So I've done my life right now to sort of still feel that I'm connected to people. I'm a big people person. I'm very social. So, but I do it within the constraints that we're supposed to follow, not only for my own well-being, but for the others around me, and especially my mom.
I didn't realize she was living with you, and I had no idea that she had the COPD. I mean, that's really touchy. You have to be careful with that. You can be fine every day, but then all of a sudden, it gets to you. I've had clients who have had COPD, and when they get in those coughing fits, you're kind of worried, like, this is going to be a trip to the emergency room. But
knock on wood, and I am an Italian superstitious person from New York, New Jersey. I'm knocking on wood that everything's been fine.
Oh, yeah. So what have you been doing when you say self-care, if I'm not being too intrusive, for your self-care?
You know me. Come on. I'm raw, authentic, blunt, honest. There's certain things that I keep, private and not secret, because I hate that word because that's a negative connotation, but private. But my life is an open book. So no, you feel free to ask me anything you want. So we can start there for the rest of the interview. But I guess part of it is, let's start with working. I knock on wood again. I have had a job throughout this whole thing, and I feel in gratitude and very fortunate.
She directs the photographers and the art design and all that. She works for CBS, and I was just commenting to her that you don't hear of long-term jobs anymore. You've been with them over 30 years, I think?
31 years this year.
Yeah, and you don't hear that anymore. So you're busy, and you want to keep your job because, let's face it, this is LA. Places like that are downsizing, so you have to really be on it. And I'm not saying you're worried about your job, but people do still have to keep working, and you never know when you're going to be.
Absolutely. And the thing is kind of like, I started November 17th, 1989. And every day I still go into work with the same passion 31 years later. And I'm not going into work per se right now, but with the same passion that I had. So, for me, I mean, I've not been clinically diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, but I do know me. This is a job that has kept me constantly not bored. Focused. And that was part of the thing here, is when it got shifted to working from home, that was the biggest issue for me. I don't want to say issue. It was the biggest hurdle because I like structure. I love consistency. So, going into the office compartmentalized me. If I'm in the office, I do work. On my way home, then I'm on my business, my fun phone calls or my podcast calls, and then having everything happen where now everything is concentrated at my home. I had to really sit there for a while and compartmentalize how to do that because everybody else was out of work. So, I'm sitting here, I'm working, and then all of a sudden I'm getting a friend calling me. And it's like, okay, I'll take my friend call. Wow, I can take my friend's call now. And I'm working, and then, but it just got to be where I really had to restructure myself to go, no, your friends can call, but you can't spend 20 minutes on the phone with them. You have to work. So it really was getting that balance back to where I was comfortable, but that took a little bit of time. And then
the imaginary cubicle, and you got to pretend that you are down at the office or the studio. Yeah.
Well, I had to do a whole second. I mean, I have 3-bedroom house, and one bedroom I have a roommate, and the other bedroom, obviously, Mom took over, which was my office. So I don't even have a space. So I had to create a space in my living room that was an office. That I got the printer, I got the computer. I mean, it literally looks like an office, and that made me focus so much better.
That's good.
Yeah. What else?
People have had to do that.
Yeah, and then I'm a spiritual person. I'm not a woo-woo. I am not that kind, but I do believe in spirituality and really self-care and self-focus because organized religions. You pray to, and I'm going to be probably a reverend now, but pray to a God or pray to a this or pray to a that. And that's wonderful to have that faith and that hope. And to some degree, I was raised Catholic. I do too. Oh God, please. But your temple, your church should be you. And it starts with you. And
well, the scripture said as much. I mean, if you want to go there, the scripture said as much. Yeah.
Exactly. So you start with you. So it was about, really taking into account what do I need for self-care? I started meditation. I could never understand meditation. And then I started reading that meditation, you don't have to be in complete silence. And so, and I even bought a machine, Muse 2, that sort of helped me on that. So, I've been meditating. I've been reading a lot of self-help books. I've been reading a lot of stuff and engaging in philosophical conversations with people. So, I'm becoming more grounded. I mean, I'm grounded for everybody else. Everybody thinks I'm their rock, and I'm there. But for myself, I tend to spread myself too thin. And what do they say? You can't fill from an empty cup.
Right.
So I'm learning to make sure that my cup is full all the time now.
So this got you on that. Wow.
And then
because you were always so busy.
Yeah. And then, because I was always running around and I would take bits and pieces of free time for me,
right,
which is all I needed to recharge. But I realized I think I need a little bit more than that. I need to make myself the priority. And
do you ever feel like you're being selfish when you see who's calling and you don't take the call, or you just turn it off and you take your time to meditate or go for a drive or something? Do you ever feel
in the beginning? Yeah, in the beginning, but now no, because I'm benefiting from it. Another thing I learned besides that is learn to eat healthy. I've never been a huge meat eater, and I don't like chicken. I don't like that. I mean, I call myself vegetarian light, meaning I will eat mostly a vegetarian-based diet. But every once in a while, I still hate chicken, and I still can't stand turkey, and I really am not a big fish person. Every once in a while, yes, I'll indulge in that, hamburger. But, it's being conscious. Another thing I found out being at home, I eat better because I control everything that goes into my mouth. I cook, and I'm a really good cook. So,
how were you not controlling it before?
Because when you're in the office and you're working and you're on deadlines, you skip breakfast. And then if you're working, I'm the kind of person that, I would work through lunch. And then my boss has a big jar of candy in his office. And at like 3:00, I'd crash and I'd go in and eat Snickers and crap. And then I'd go home and then I'd be like, oh, I don't feel like cooking. I'll just have potato chips. So I really had a shitty diet. I don't know if I can say the word. I mean,
of course.
I really didn't have a great diet. So, and I really didn't diet. And I say to my friends, I hate the word diet. It's such a negative connotation because to me, when I hear the word diet, it says, what are you withholding? What are you not doing? So I just say, I want a healthy lifestyle. I want a healthy living. It's all about moderation. And even when I was larger, I used to be a size 16 a while ago. I never did the diets. What I did is I cut down certain things, but I never denied myself. So if I wanted McDonald's French fries, I would go to McDonald's, get the small baby size, take a few, satisfy that craving, and then I was done. And so, it's just getting back to that. And my friends say, I hate you. Like, I would never wear a shirt like this because, my arms are my this and my that. But now I'm like, oh my God, I have collarbones and I've got butt dimples now. Oh my God, I was like, oh my God, what? Oh my God, my ribs, you can see them. Oh, I've got those bones now. So it's, so when I see results, it makes me feel better about myself. Because
it's not vanity. It's just you feel good from the inside out. It's like, wow, I am pretty rocking.
Yeah, but on another thing, it's all about social conditioning and media.
Yeah.
So I'm not good enough. And I have to be, for me to feel good about myself, I've got to be thin. I've got to be, gorgeous. Right. I've got to be this. And I've learned during this time that this is who I am. And yes, I'm losing weight. And yes, I'm going to be 57. And yeah, I've done Botox just right here. But I thought, you know what? I do it because I feel good about me. And that is overcoming a lot of childhood insecurities, low self-esteem issues, because it's like what you have, you're okay with, but you want different. So I was always the cute, intelligent, funny girl.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be, I'd rather be the airhead, hot, whatever girl, but I'm realizing it doesn't have to be either or. You could have a balance, but as long as you look in the mirror and you can see your beauty, and you can't see your beauty unless you start to love yourself.
And feel good from the inside out. Yes. Well, when you were busy before all this, when you were going down to the office, you never felt, did you feel good about yourself, or did you just ignore it?
I felt good about myself, but it wasn't about that piece of me that I had my insecurities and my low self. No one saw that. No one saw that. That was hidden. What I did revel in is sort of, that I am funny, that I am smart, the positive qualities that I put out there, and I was always on. I was always expected to be on. And a friend of mine, a couple of months ago during COVID, we actually had breakfast together, and we had a gathering of very small people the night before, of new people that I hadn't met. And the next day we went to breakfast, or 2 days later, and she said, don't be mad at me, but I have to tell you something. I'm like, oh God, I hate these conversations. I said, yeah. She said, you don't always have to be on. You don't always have to be on. You don't always, people may, if people want to see Gaye Ann Bruno, host and producer of Between the Sheen podcast, or Gaye Ann Bruno, director of photography for CBS, that's what you've programmed, that's what people want to see from you. But the you that has a quiet side, that has a shy side, let people see that more often. And that was a real awakening to me.
Wow.
And it was like, because I do, you come to the table and you do want people to like you. And you do. It's an insecurity issue. Maybe you want to be liked. Everybody wants to be, not everybody has to be a people pleaser, but everybody wants to be liked and not rejected.
Did you breathe? Was that like a breath of fresh air for you, or did you get defensive?
No, it was. And then I've been testing it, kind of. Like to myself, I'm not making a big deal of it, but I've been testing it. And you know what? Yeah. And what they say is, and it's true, the people who get you, the people, the real you, not the you that you put out, the people who get you, that's your tribe. That's your circle. Those are the ones that be your BFFs forever, because you're showing them the real you. When you put that other thing out there, they're only seeing this one side of you. So the onus is on you. If they betray you, they're disloyal, they use you. So you're projecting, saying, hey, use me. use me because this is what I have to offer you. Well, you don't have to offer people anything. They have to like you for you.
That just spoke to me. You're projecting, use me. Yeah, and I think a lot of working women do that. It's like, go ahead, you need me for this to make you dinner. You need me to make the bed and do the chores. You need me, you're my boss or you're my colleague, whatever. Yeah, we do project, okay, I know you know me as this, go ahead, use me. And we know that they depend on us for those things. And it kind of fills us too.
Right.
Play the role. Because we
Exactly.
needed
Because
and
everybody
useful and
wants to be
productive.
needed, not needy. Everybody wants to be needed.
Exactly.
But it's like, but where did that programming come in?
Right.
You know, where did that, why can't you just like me for me, for not for what I can provide to you? But again, that's us. And I think everybody does that. You know, we
Yeah.
want to we want a stronghold and be a rock or something in someone's life. And
Do you think, go ahead, sorry.
no, okay.
Do you think what you just went through and what you're going through, how do you think this will affect you or have made you as far as being productive and as far as your work when we get to the other side, a year from now, let's say, year and a half from now? Has this changed you in any way?
It has. I mean, you know, it has a lot. I mean, in a year, I mean, I'm actually probably becoming more self-confident than I was. Again, it's that projection of, you know, it's like when people meet me, you know, they think, oh my God, she's got it all, blah, 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 blah. And I don't. But that's the projection because, I mean, look, truth be told, I'm a romantic. I'm sensitive. You know, and this is just probably the bravado that I've put out there as a protective mechanism and a defense mechanism not to be hurt. And you know what? And it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to go through that. It's a part of your journey. It's a part of growth. And if somebody or someone, and I truly am a believer of something that comes in your life, it's meant to be. That person is meant to be in your life. And you all are teaching each other something. And so, you know, whatever I do is seriously only to make me a better person. But it all is about awareness and the ability and the openness to be willing to take that on and hear it. And some of it's not good. You know, like a friend of mine today said, you know, I do this. And it's sort of like, and it is a defense mechanism. It's like if someone says something to me and they don't necessarily mean it to be mean, but it's hurtful because it'll automatically go here and they recant it. It's this thing in me is like, okay, now it's my turn to hurt you because I've been hurt.
Right.
And I say, and I've said mean things. I mean, not horrible, but mean things just to sort of like tit for tat. And that doesn't serve me. That does not serve me because they did not mean to hurt me. They just didn't think before they talked. I did. So I specifically do that. And I'm like, that's not cool. That's not cool to willingly hurt someone. Instead, that's very childish. And I'm too old to behave, you know.
Too evolved. Yeah.
Too evolved to behave that way. So now, and she brought it to my attention, and that's a good friend to bring it to my attention. A lot of people skate through life and we all get away with crap because no one has the cojones to sort of say, hey, you know, that's not good. I do it, but I don't know why people are intimidated by me sometimes, but I actually am open to it because it's kind of like, if you don't know what you're doing is wrong or it affects someone that way, isn't it better to communicate? Because I'm the queen of communication. Isn't it better to communicate that so I now have an awareness of it and can be more conscientious not to behave in that negative manner? Because I like to practice what I preach, but I'm also human.
And sometimes we don't know that people perceive things or that things that we say or do are perceived or are interpreted in a certain way, or that people see that. And it's like, it's got to be called out to you. A little spotlight has to be shined on that. No, I totally get that.
It's all about gossip. I mean, women love to gossip, you know, and I'm not a gossip. Well, we all are gossips. We all gossip, but it's the degree of gossip. And I read something and it really struck home that if you're in the middle of a conversation and people start to gossip, to engage or listen even, you're culpable. You're an
Ooh,
accessory to that gossip.
true.
Best answer or the best way to handle it is to stop them. And I know we're all are women. It's difficult to do that because you want to, you're engaging in conversation. But I am learning that I
Yeah.
have been a gossip, maybe because I didn't open my mouth, but I have listened, and that made me an accessory. And I try really every day, you know, I'm on the air. I used to do the live Facebook chats every night. I do my podcast. People turn to me for advice. I've got to really, if I got to walk the walk that I talk. And I really have to be much more conscious of it because people are listening to me.
Yeah, they are.
And I can't be as frivolous because, and I don't want to say this like I have an ego, but I realize that I do have an impact in certain people's lives, not because I know that as a fact. I mean, I know that just because I do it. I get tons of emails, tons of telling me, and I've got, oh God, you've got to be really careful because, people are looking to you. Have an added responsibility
And that counts for social media as well, because a lot of women turn to social media and they think they're not gossiping because they're just looking at gossip. But then they'll retweet or like an Instagram or comment. And we have to be really careful about that too. Social media is great. It's accepted. It's here and we're using it. Use it for the good. But I see so much nastiness on Facebook and Instagram.
There's so much passive
I gotta
aggressive.
turn it off. It's
There's
like,
so
no, I
much
can't look.
passive aggressive. And again, I'm human. I've done it. Everything that I'm advocating against is
Yeah.
because I've done it.
We can't help it. We like respond right away,
And and then there's like blocking and unblocking, and people use social media for that stuff. I've never done that. That's one thing I won't do, because I am sensitive. And that's another thing I do. I do think sometimes, even though I've done the nasty stuff, but I'm becoming much more conscious to really think before I talk and choosing my words wisely. I had a friend that said, please choose your words wisely. Words are very powerful. And, and I've been that action speaks louder than words girl. But you know what? I think words must meet the actions. So, don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. If you have a conviction, stick with it. Now, not to say that if you have a conviction, you can't sway that opinion. People
watch how you do it.
Or people that are just so stuck and I don't do this. I never say never, even though I just said I never say never, but I don't like to say never. I do not like to use the word hate. I would rather say I immensely dislike than to use the word hate.
Or I'm disappointed, or this turns me off. Yeah.
And it's choosing it wisely because of the connotation, because you may have a certain, it's like, when I used to say to somebody, oh, they have a chip on their shoulder. I know what that means for me, but then they're like, well, what does that mean? And so you have to explain things sometimes. Right. So, and I think over explanation, and my friends say, you talk so much, you over explain so much, you get really heavy and deep. And it's like, because it's not because I'm repeating myself, but I just really want to make sure that the person on the other end truly never misinterprets what I need to say. And yeah, you could just throw out a comment and be done with it. But then, wait a minute, then I think that comment could mean this, this, or this. So let me try and explain it in a 15-minute conversation that my friends go, seriously? I'm like, well, I just want to make sure, because I don't want to be ever called a hypocrite. I'm human, but I never want to be called a hypocrite. And the thing is, we're all through this life. We all stumble and fall. We're all on this journey. I am the queen of forgiveness. My friends don't understand me. There are people that have done horrendous things to me. Now, there are certain things I will not forgive, and those are the really horrible, like crazy shit. But I am the queen of forgiveness and kindness and compassion. And people have done stuff to me, but, I always look at it from both sides because everybody's got a story and a baggage, and I don't know everything. So I look at it and I go, well, it could have been this, it could have been this, but maybe this happened. And then, I'm the first one to pick up the phone and say, hey, let's work this out because it's not cool. And then usually the friendship develops, or the business relation or whatever, develops into a much more deeper. So I am that person that puts that first foot forward.
Oh, I
Because
like
I also
that.
can't stand animosity. I cannot stand conflict. There's no reason in life to have conflict. Why?
People have asked me, when they have problems with the boss or somebody at work, or even with a family member, I'm like, you know what? First, eat dirt. Go ahead, eat dirt. It's not going to kill you. Eat a little dirt. You apologize. Try to get them talking. Engage them. And you're right. It usually develops into something much more productive and deeper in a true relationship, whether it's a colleague or a true friendship. You're right.
Like all this other crap that
It's
goes
not
back
like
and forth.
I wasn't right. I wasn't wrong.
No.
I wasn't wrong for me.
Because that is ego.
Yeah.
That is where ego and pride. And if people, it's like, if you step away from ego and pride, does it freaking matter really in the end who's right and who's wrong? Absolutely not. It's like there was a disagreement. We could agree to disagree. And as adults and hopefully evolved people, we can sit there and look at our differences. And really, like we love when we have friends or partners or whatever, of course we revel and love in the commonness of that. But you also have to learn to appreciate the stuff that you aren't alike. That's what makes us individuals. I mean, I would hate, and probably I use the word hate, and this time I really mean it. I would really dislike to be with somebody who is exactly like me. We drive each other insane. Every partnership, every friendship is a balance. So instead of tearing each other apart because of our uniqueness or our differences, I think we really need to embrace that as well.
Especially now.
Because that's unconditional love. And I think people don't understand truly what unconditional love is. Right. And I'm not talking about the husband that beats you or the girlfriend that is an MF and emotionally abuses you. Absolutely not. I mean, that's just heinously wrong. But if there are disagreements and if there are whatever, people can work through that. Because if you truly unconditionally love somebody, you would hope they would want the best and for you to be happy, and ditto, even if you agree to disagree.
Right. Because that's what made you friends in the first place. And it's that. Let's go back and then we'll wrap it up. But let's go back to the how you've changed your self-care. Now, you don't per se go work out, do you? And so this is totally against everything I ever preach because I'm a personal trainer. But you're like, the first thing you said to me is like, I don't exercise.
No. Why do you want to talk to me?
You're so active, and you really do. I mean, you take off and you go to the beach, or you go, you do things. You are active. So in a way, you don't call it or label it a regimen of exercise.
No, because just like diet, exercise to me is a real negative word because it's something you have to commit to and do. And I am a free spirit. I am spontaneous. I will follow the rules. The rules I follow are the ones that are not going to get me in jail. But other than those, I am a rule breaker. I take chances. I do love that. So I'm a little wild in a way. But yes, I mean, do I exercise if you want to use that word? Yes. I took up hiking and I haven't been hiking in a while because it's just been too hot. I just bought a bike. It's an electric bike, albeit, but you still have to pedal, but again, it's just been really hot to do it here in Southern California. But what I have done is I've gone to a beach with a few friends. Ventura is my happy place, but they've got that huge beach, but that walk along the beach that, back and forth around is, I think, almost 9 miles. I've done that, So, and I'm always active. It's like I go to a friend's house in West Hollywood and in the sweltering heat, she's like, let's go grab something to eat. And I'm like, okay, let's walk. And she goes, well, it's a mile or something. I'm like, so, because I'm also from the East Coast.
Yeah, we walk everywhere there.
We walk a lot. So coming here, jumping in your car is a convenience, but I don't do heat well at all. Never have, even as a child. So, I don't want to get dehydrated because that's another thing my friends ride me on. I don't hydrate enough. I don't drink enough water. I don't like water. And they're like, how would you like that water? It doesn't taste like anything. I'm like, I don't know. But I don't have soda either. I'll do iced tea or I'll do something like that. But yeah, so I mean, I'm active and I will always be active. And I'm blessed from my dad. I don't exercise, and this is going to look stupid, but I mean, I've got definition, and it's natural.
But you pick up stuff, don't you? And you move things around, don't you?
I do. But even if I didn't, I mean,
Yeah.
my ex-girlfriend who struggled not with her weight, but just to she's a gym rat, you know, everything. And she used to look at me as I'm sitting on the couch, like eating popcorn. She goes, "I can't stand you. You have this like muscle definition. You are solid muscle." And yes, of course, I've got to tone. I mean, that's the thing. I need to tone. And those are sit-ups, and I don't like those. But I did try taking Pilates, and I may go back to Pilates once a week. Um,
That's
but
good.
but we'll see. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
got to be something that I want to do. And
Something
because
you
I get
enjoy.
bored, you know, if I get bored, but I make hiking social, or it used to be social. You know, we used to go with a group of girls and, you know, chat and hike. And I'm not so much thinking about what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So, you know, even the walks that I do, it's with a friend, or, you know, and we talk and we do it. So as long as it's not, you've got to go to a gym and I'm sitting here looking at machines, it's not, it doesn't, it is exercise, but it's not traditional. Because God
Yeah.
knows back in the day, I spent thousands of dollars on gym memberships that I never used.
I hear that. I totally hear that. So see, the whole point of this is you just spoke to a lot of women who, I mean, there are many women that do want a program and they need a trainer, or they need buddies at the gym, or they miss the gym because they miss the equipment. But there are also a lot of women that just, like you said, they're free spirits and they don't want to label it. And that would speak to them. Do activities you love. And
Yes.
friends. It's funny because my friends know I don't do lunch. It's like Ronnie, she doesn't do lunch. But I will go on a hike with you. I'll go on an urban hike. I'll go around your neighborhood. So my friends know that our talk time, instead of going to do coffee, and I do like to do coffee,
Yeah.
instead of going to lunch, I love to go for a walk. You know, I know the upside and backside and all the way around Running Canyon. You know, I know the entire coast here because I love going for a walk, and that's my good time with my friends. That's my thing. You know, and you can count it as exercise, but it doesn't feel like exercise. You know,
Right.
talking, you're enjoying yourself. So good. So that's your outlet is great. You may not know this, Gaye Ann, but you're exercising and you're dieting. I'm sorry to tell you, but you are. But it's not labeled that because you've cut calories without meaning to, and you do get out and you are active. And that's the whole point. Because the reason we work out is to be functional and to be strong and not to hurt.
Absolutely.
And your self-care as well. And I'm so proud of you for taking on and studying and researching what kind of meditation works for you. That's really cool.
It just is. It's like, I think with this COVID thing, for at least me, it made me go inward, because it's a lot easier to go outward, so you don't have to really deal with stuff. But it literally took me inward. So, to focus on myself and find out, what do I need to do for me? Because I'm a fixer and I'm a helper, and I always do things for others. And it's like, you know what? You have to really make yourself the priority and not be, as you said, feel selfish. Because I think a lot of women, especially women, are conditioned to feel that if we do something for ourselves, it's selfish. And if that's the word, then yes, I'm selfish and I'm happy to be selfish.
No. It's self-care. It's self-aware. I want everybody to tune in and look for your Between the Sheets podcast, because again, you cover a myriad of topics. The last topic I heard you guys talk about, which has nothing to do with me, but I was engaged anyway. You guys were talking about smoking pot, I think.
It was about medical. Well, it was about like pot and shrooms and all this other stuff that people are using, to I mean, yes, it's always been recreational, but actually science has been now using it to try MDMA, all that stuff, to try and test, to see maybe there is a purpose to facilitate what we are going through. And I'm happy for that, but you're right.
West.
Yeah. I mean, I go all over the place. I have musicians on, and it's like it's all impromptu. I just tell the girls the topic if there's one, and then we just go from there. There's no notes. It's all really sort of like, as you said, it's a conversation. As we're talking about it, that's how it's evolving. It's not preconceived. And, and I'm fortunate. I mean, the show's on the first and third Friday of every month, live on the Facebook platform on United Broadcasting Network at 7 p.m. Pacific. Today's Friday, so tonight's one of my shows. And today we're going to have a musician on, I try and mix it up, but, we've talked about human trafficking. We've talked about self-love and self-care. We've talked about narcissism. We've talked about healthy eating and diet. We've talked about a lot of stuff. And, you know, and like people go, how do you come up with the topics? You know, now, you know, it's like, well, I mean, if I'm sitting there and I'm going through something in my life, then that'll become the topic for the next show. Not because I want to bogart it, but I have a beautiful panel of women, because it's like The Talk or The View. But you know, we all sit there and we talk, and we give insight, because everybody comes to the table with a different path. And I have learned from my women, these lovely women that are in my circle here, and from some of the guests, so much stuff about in general, but also about me. Yeah. So it's like a girls club, you know, it's a girls club, and not, and we get 45,000 plus listeners and viewers per episode, but men listen. And the range of age goes from 21 and up. So whatever we tap into, you know, it resonates. And if it's because people, you know, because it's about me, and there's something about me that, right, you know, and I hate to say this because it does sound a little egoistic, but that if something that I do or I'm going through inspires somebody, right, then that's great, because every day when I meet people, they inspire me. So if I can give back, right, it's a symbiotic thing, and it's just
no, really, it is great. Plus, you bring up things that make you want to ask other people, like when you were talking about the cannabis, the medical cannabis, you guys brought up a lot of things that I didn't know and I hadn't really thought of. And so people can go and research it or ask their friends or users or their doctors. And you have great women on there. And I love that you guys don't talk over each other. Yay.
Well, it's because of Zoom. I mean, when
you can't.
This is the third incarnation of the podcast. The first one was with Terry Nunn and Martha Davis from Berlin and Motels. That's how we started the podcast, because I was managing, they were both good friends, and I was managing them. So that was a way to get promotion for them. And then they chose not to do it anymore, but it was such a stronghold for me in my life that I said, okay. And then I came up with that all-female format. And then, you know, then everybody, you know, great. And then everybody went their separate ways. And then Mom moved in, and I kind of put it out there, and it was like, what am I missing in my life? And this was an anchor. And I said to the universe, you know what? I really want to do this. And if you make things help come together so quickly, like I could get a station and I can get the girls, then I know it's meant to be. And it was. And we're doing it over a year now. And it is. It's I would say it's my therapy session, so it does save me some money.
That's cool.
But it is. And it's like I said, it's I mean, and we don't shy away from any topics or anything. No, because we don't have to follow like the FCC or whatever it is rules. I mean, I have been asked by radio stations and streaming to, you know, go on and take it legit, like real legit, but I have to follow those rules. And if I follow those rules, then the show loses what I think the specialness of the show is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
no, I mean, it's because it feels a lot like you're sitting in a nice warm afternoon talking at a cafe in a city.
Yeah. I mean, hey, by the way, if any of your listeners, I look for sponsors all the time. It is a labor of love. I pay for this out of my own pocket. So I am looking for sponsors. So, hey, plug, why not? But, you know, when we're in the studio, this is the difference. When we're in the studio, there's a different energy. And we sometimes talk over each other, but we try not to. But because you're feeding off the energy and you can see the vibe and the people, it's, you know, I won't say it's a much more dynamic show, but it's a different show. By putting on the Zoom thing, you know, there's more of, I guess, an order without a chaos. Right. You know, the studio's done. They were renovating it. We can go back in because podcasting is considered an essential business. And I was going to go in today, but then I thought about it. So I'm thinking maybe September, I'll go into the studio. And, you know, there are, as you were aware, because you saw the show, there's about 5 or 6 of us plus the engineer. We cannot do that for safe distancing and stuff.
Not anymore.
So, not anymore.
Those days are over.
But, you know, between the engineer and me and 2 other ladies, you know, and the way we're spaced, it can be done. I want to try that. And then everybody else can do Zoomy, you know, that's fine. Yeah. but it'd be nice to get back in the studio again, just to feel that energy with a couple of the ladies who are comfortable in doing such. So,
Yeah.
it may be a September thing, but yeah,
Okay.
we don't talk over each other because it's just you can't have chaos or you can't have chaos when you're on Zoom. You just can't.
Right. So where do people find it? And I know we'll put a link, but where do people find Between the Sheets?
We're on the first and third Friday of every month, 7 p.m. Pacific. We go live on the Facebook page of the United Broadcasting Network. I also have a Between the Sheets podcast Facebook page. I will usually do reruns on that as well. After the fact, you can find it on the YouTube channel, Between the Sheets with Gaye Ann Bruno. Plus, just the audio portion is everywhere, on Spotify, on Amazon, on Google Play, iTunes, wherever you can find the audio version. And then you can always find me on Instagram at QTEBrat.
QTE Brat.
Yep.
Okay.
Brat.
Let me just share something with everyone. Gaye Ann is so giving. She doesn't know me for nil. And I needed an opinion. I'm like, I want her opinion on this. It was literally about a title of something. And she answered me. She did not just DM me. She called me. I'm like, who's this? You don't see that anymore. You're lucky if anybody who doesn't know you DMs you back without thinking, okay, what are you doing? Are you a stalker? She called. She took a chance. She knows how to protect herself. And I love that. You are very giving. Thank you so much. And you have really opened up and shared a lot of stuff here today. I really want to thank you.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for, me. I'm out of your box. I color out of your box. So thank you for including me on this, because I'm not. And, and I was sitting here the other day going, maybe I should get a personal trainer. Nope. But if I did, it would be you.
Well, thank you. You never know.
And hey, listen, call me up. I'll hike with you. I'll do things with you.
You got it, babes. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you so much.
Namaste.